Podcast. I'm Justin Janowski, the founder of Faith to Influence, and I started my coaching business in December of 2018. I remember feeling scared and unsure of whether or not I could do this, and God provided beyond my belief. I collected over $250,000 that first year, and I've been able to grow a multiple six-figure business since that has provided for my family's lifestyle, that's supported a team. We've now got 11 on our team, and that's gone far beyond what I expected in terms of impact and fun, and I've done it without compromising my values. I know so many new Christian coaches struggle with how to design their offers, how to price it, and how to sell with integrity, and also in a way that converts and builds a sustainable, financially successful business. This is exactly what I'm good at. This podcast is here to help you optimize your business models, your pricing, your sales strategies, and your mindset around sales and money so that you can scale your income and your impact. Today, I want to talk to you about striking the important balances. We have a piece of content that we taught in our original men's group, and we've shared a little bit with coaches as well, which is the 15 laws of uncommon leaders. And one of the laws of uncommon leaders is that true leaders strike the important balances. And balance isn't necessarily equal. It's not the same from person to person. It's about finding harmony in who you are and your way of showing up. And so when you think about balance, it's a sliding scale, but each of us needs to find balance in challenge versus support. If you're going to be a coach or a parent, a leader, a salesperson, how much do you challenge the people that you're leading? And how much do you support them and love them and create the space for them? Well, both are important. People who have too much challenge without enough support burn others out. They hurt relationships. People who have too much support without having any of the challenge never help people get the most out of themselves. So what's your balance between challenge and support? And one thing to recognize is my balance might be different than yours, and it might be different than John's or Susan's. We might each have our own balance based on the way God made us and our authentic leadership voice. It's also relevant to recognize that the people that we're leading might have a different balance from one another in how much they receive and respond to challenge versus support. So just like we're not necessarily going to parent all of our kids exactly the same, we might not lead all of our clients or coach all of our prospects on a sales call in the exact same way. Some people, if you get really pay close attention, you get present, you feel your intuition coming alive, you're going to notice that some people need more challenge and respond really well to that. Other clients that you work with are going to need more support and more spaciousness and patience and love to be able to get to where they need to go. The key is for you to have enough self-awareness and awareness of others, presence to the relationships that you have to recognize how much challenge and support to bring. The same thing is true with something like your work life and your fun, your leisure, your adventure, your play. Now, I know in today's world, a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's all the same to me, and it's not work if you love what you do. I don't really believe that. I love what I do, and it's still work. It's still separate from my family time. When I'm actually working at the computer, I'm recording these podcasts, I'm holding sales calls, I'm coaching people. I love it. It's fun for me, and it's work. It's different than being on a date with my wife. It's different than being on vacation. It's different than playing a board game with my kids. And so I need to find my balance between the two. If we merge them too much in our minds and we believe that it's all one thing all the time, we might actually put ourselves in a position where we're not honoring our family enough because we're spending too much time on work and calling it play and calling it leisure, or vice versa. Or we might get caught up in too much leisure, too much play, too much fun, and not actually fulfill on the responsibilities that we have as a leader to grow our business and provide for our families and our clients. And so we want to find your balance in that. And different phases of life have a different level of balance there. And so if you are young and single and your business is brand new, the level of work and hustle that you put in, the amount of time you spend on work versus on play, leisure, vacation, family time, etc., might look different than somebody who's married with kids. It might look different from somebody whose business is developed to the point that they've got several team members and they're replacing themselves and they're delegating more. But the question for you to answer is, what is balance for you right now between work and play? And if you just pause for even a moment, you could probably recognize if you're out of balance. Are you working too much right now? And do you need to pause? Do you need to take some time for yourself? Do you need to take a walk? Do you need to get a massage? Do you need to take a day off? Do you need an extended weekend? Do you need to plan a vacation? On the other hand, some of you might be like, wow, I'm just relaxing a little too much for somebody who needs to bring in income. I need to get to work. I need to have a little bit more structure. I need to challenge myself a little bit more in this season to get to work during the day. Which one are you? Or are you in balance right now? And there's so many different areas in which we can look at this and ask these questions. And it's important in all of them. And if you do have team, you might ask yourself about striking the important balance with team. How are you doing in balancing how much you delegate and how much you take on as responsibility for yourself? Really important for us to get that balance right. If you over delegate too soon, you give too much to team too soon, you could be hurting yourself and you could be hurting your business. If you don't delegate enough and give others an opportunity, you're going to be stuck doing all of the work. So what is the truth for you? I think about this in terms of marketing. Are you playing the short game or the long game? Do you have balance for you in how much time you spend on the short game and the long game? The short game for me is, what are the activities in marketing, prospecting, sales that we can focus on right now? They're going to lead to sales this week, this month, this year. The long game is, what are some of the marketing efforts that we can do consistently again and again and again over time that are going to build trust and credibility in the marketplace and make it easier for us to make sales 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Both the short game and the long game are important, but it's really important for us to strike the important balance between the two. Some new coaches get caught up playing the long game because it feels safe. Oftentimes in the long game, we're teaching, we're sharing, we're promoting, but we're not actually selling. And I get that sales can feel scary. It can feel intimidating. And so sometimes updating our website or recording another podcast episode or going on YouTube or making a social post can feel like significant progress, but it's not leading to sales yet. If you're doing too much of that and not making enough sales right now, you're probably out of balance, and you need to course correct and come back to the short game and say, what can I do this week to create another opportunity for me to get in front of a real person and invite them to buy? That's ultimately the game so often, is getting in front of real people and having real conversations. And if they're a fit, inviting them to buy so that we can take the next step in serving people, fulfilling our mission, and growing our income of our business. So are you too much on the long game and you need to come into the short game? The other side of this is, some people just focus on the short game all the time, but they never play the long game, which means it's always hard. It's always heavy. The short game can feel hard and heavy for a lot of people. It can be the sort of thing that produces burnout over time if we never find a way to make it easier. So it is appropriate to spend most of our time in the short game as a newer coach. But once we start to get some traction, we start to make some sales, we reach financial viability, we ought to be considering, what can we do to start to play the long game now? Which means the podcast or the YouTube channel or the social channel or the blog, or maybe it's building a funnel and a machine. Maybe it's hiring a coach to learn things you don't yet know. How can we start to play that long game while we continue to focus on the short game and find our balance in each of them? Again, over time, for different people with different sets of goals, balance looks completely different. You need to find this for you. And the truth is, in all areas of your business, all areas of your life, you need to find this. And so the question would be for you to just pause and say, where am I out of balance in my life? In what ways am I feeling stretched too thin? Where am I feeling overwhelmed? Where am I pushing too hard? Where am I sitting back too much? Assertiveness is an important balance to find in sales too. Most people go to the extremes. Many people end up in either an aggressive sales stance, which is a huge turnoff in the marketplace to so many people, or they go the way opposite. And this is a lot of the clients I deal with, and they get too passive in sales. And what they really need is to find the appropriate balance of assertiveness, assertive love in the way that they're showing up in sales, in the way that they're responding to objections. There's a way to assertively, lovingly challenge people and help them make the right decision for themselves. And we need to find that. And that's what I call, again, your authentic leadership voice that you want to be seeking. There's more questions than answers for you in today's podcast episode. I recognize that. I'm hopeful that as you wrap up listening to today, you'll pause for at least 5 minutes and just consider the important balances for you to strike in your life, and ask, where am I out of balance? And what can I do to move back towards harmony and balance? How can I find my authentic leadership voice? How can I step into the person that God's created me to be and behave in the way I need to behave to fulfill the mission that God's put on my heart? You can do this. God bless you. Good luck with this. By the way, we've got a really cool workshop coming up in 8 days. We'll run it again. So if you're listening to this episode late, feel free to check out the link. It might be available now. We might be running something else on this link, but we're planning to run this workshop a handful of times at least. It's called the Idea to Launch Workshop. If you're interested in this, go to www.f2itribe.com/idea to launch. That's TO, not the number 2, like faith to influence. www.f2itribe.com/idea to launch. I would love for you to join us in this free workshop where I'm going to be sharing the 7 keys that helped me build the foundation for my business so I could collect over $250,000 in revenue in the first year. To me, these are the exact steps someone needs to take to build a successful coaching business in the marketplace. And I would love to give these ideas to you for free in the workshop. October 9th is when we're holding the workshop right now. It's 8 days from when I'm recording this. Go ahead and sign up. We're going to share the recording as well. www.f2itribe.com/idea to launch. Hope to see you there. God bless you all. Cheers.